Chapter 13. Hayes and Ryder drove down the road towards the cabins. They drove as fast as they could. The sun was going to set in 2 hours. They saw the lights of the cabins 10 minutes after the sun went down, which meant that someone was inside the cabin. They parked the vehicles in the woods away from the cabin. They didn't want to risk whoever was inside the cabin to notice them. Ryder called Marshall. "Marshall, come in," he said softly. "Marshall here," Marshall replied. "Is it true that you found Chase?" "Yes, Marshall, it is," Chase said. "Chase," Marshall said, a bit too loud. "They found you." Chase hushed Marshall. "Try to keep your voice down, Marshall. We don't want to get caught." "Oh, sorry," Marshall apologized. "It's okay, Marshall, I'm also happy to hear your voice again. When are you going to catch up with us?" "I'm not sure. I passed the 2 cinder blocks half an hour ago. So I think I'm halfway there." "Okay, when you get close, turn off your lights and come slowly. We parked our vehicles far away from the cabins. Park your truck near ours and sneak over to the cabin and search for us. Don't get caught." "Will do, Chase, Marshall." Marshall hung up the call. "Okay, let's get going," Ryder said. They snuck over to the side of the nearest of the 2 cabins. The window was surrounded by crates that had been pushed aside. They seemed to be old, so Chase and Ryder figured they had been there since before the robbers took shelter in the cabins. The cabin itself was about the size of Katie's pet clinic and 10 feet high. 2 lights were hanging overhead, illuminating the room. It had a window on all 4 sides. The outside walls had an old coat of blue that had started to peel off. The triangle-shaped roof had tiles and vines hanging over the edge. The windows were dirty and full of cobwebs. The window above their head was broken in the corner. They looked through the window into the cabin. The center had been completely cleared out. 2 tables were placed against the far wall and were littered with the robbed jewelry. In the top corner of one of the tables were stacks of dollar bills. The money was a foot high and 5 stacks were placed side by side, all of them the same height. "That's at least tens of thousands," Ryder said. Chase nodded. They heard muffling coming from inside, but they couldn't understand what they were saying. They crept around the corner to the other side, where one of the windows was slightly open. From there, they could hear better. "What time is it?" a male asked from the inside. There was a slight pause. "It's 8:00 a second man said. His voice was deeper than the others. "Himma go outside, I'm getting bored here," the first one said. "Not yet," the second one said. "Remember, we still got to wait for the client to call us again." A third person laughed softly. It sounded like a female laugh. "Something funny, Cassie?" "Yeah, there is," Cassie said. "You have been saying that the client will call us again for the past 2 days, Leo. I'm getting anxious already. I'm considering keeping one of these for myself." "How about this?" Leo asked. "If he doesn't return my call in the next hour, I will let you keep 2 of your choice, deal?" There was silence as Cassie thought about it. "Deal." Chapter Chapter 13. UST then, the phone rang and Leo said, "It's the client." He answered the phone. "Hello?" "I never get anything," Cassie muttered under her breath. "Yes, we have it all right here," Leo said through the phone. Yes, I understand. Tomorrow? Do you know how long we waited for you to call us? We're losing interest. No, they won't be a problem. Okay, but how much are we talking? That much? Okay, we can wait a bit longer. Okay, bye. Leo hung up the phone. What did he say? The other man asked. He's going to make it worth our while to wait this long. How much did he say? Enough to double our investments. So when will he be here? Well, didn't you hear, Cash? Cassie said. Obviously tomorrow. In the morning. We just have to hold on to this until he gets here, Leo said. Oh, okay, Cash said. But what's going to happen about the Paw Patrol? We can deal with them later. Right now, they are the least of our worries. Okay, Cash said. Chase and Ryder got all the information they needed. They needed a plan to stop these guys before the client arrives. They crept to the other cabin. They looked through a window and noticed that the cabin was empty. They opened the window and entered. Ryder closed the window after them. Chase called out his flashlight. He shined the light around the room. The cabin was built the same way as the other one. The inside was filled with crates that were covered by tarps and dust. On one of the walls, multiple gardening and agricultural tools were hanging off hooks. There were ropes littered all over the ground. I got an idea, Ryder said. He grabbed the ropes and carried them over to an empty table in the center of the cabin. We need to lay down a trap for these guys. We have to make sure that they don't get away from us. I say we pick them off, one by one, Chase said. It would be a lot easier than to catch them all at the same time. I agree, but how do we do that? We can cause a distraction outside, like noise or something. I got a feeling one of them will go outside to check it out. When he does, we can be waiting for them. That could work. I can make a trap so that when they step on it, it ties them up. We can use these ropes. Okay, let's go. Chase and Ryder exited through the window and parted ways. Chase walked slowly over to the other cabin. Ryder had got out to the woods to place the trap. Chase waited for Ryder to give him the signal. When Ryder was done, he signaled Chase. Chase took in a deep breath and howled. The howl had unexpectedly been repeated by distant howls of wolves. Chase thought that was cool and was going to howl to hear it again, but the thieves had heard the howl. Was that a wolf? Cash asked. Yes, Cash, Leo said. From the sound of it, the wolf must have been the alpha of his pack. His pack must not be far. Cash, go out and scare it away. What? Why me? He protested. Because if I send Cassie, she would probably give up after 2 seconds, Cassie. Guilty, Cassie said. Besides, you're the biggest of us. The wolf would most likely be more scared by you than by us. Okay, Cash said in a sad mood. As he started walking to the door, Chase left to where Ryder was hiding. They coming? Ryder asked. Yeah, the biggest one. They looked over to the cabin and noticed that Cash looking around. He was bigger than they expected. Cash had to lower his head to pass through the door. His palms were the size of Chase's head. He wore dark gray pants and a dark gray sweater with a black line running down either sleeve. He had short hair and big ears. Chase and Ryder hid back behind the trees. Chase, do it. Chase understood what Ryder meant perfectly. He howled again, which was followed by distant howls once more. Cash gulped. I think the sound came from over there. He told himself as he walked over to where Ryder had placed the trap. Okay, Ryder whispered to Chase. He will step on the trap in 3, 2, 1. Cash stepped on the rope, triggering the entire system. The ropes wrapped themselves around Cash's ankles and held his arms near his waist. What? Cash looked around, confused. We didn't put this here. He tried to move but couldn't. He struggled so much that the trees that were holding started to shake. A branch from one of the trees fell and hit him on the head, knocking him out. That wasn't supposed to happen. I was just going to put tape over his mouth, Ryder said. Chase laughed. Well, that's another way to do it. Let's capture the others. Chapter 14. Chase and Ryder by ThreadyRumble. Chase and Ryder moved the Cash, who was still unconscious, away from the trap. Cash was a big man, so it took a while to move him far enough away from the trap. They leaned him against a tree while he was still tied up. Chase and Ryder moved the Cash, who was still unconscious, away from the trap. Cash was a big man. Ryder knelt as he examined the trap. There were some rips and tears from how Cash was struggling. It may sustain one more of them, but not both of them, Ryder informed Chase. Okay, I'm gonna go see what is going on, Chase said. He snuck back over to the cabin where Cassie and Leo were. He stayed out of sight as he listened to their conversation. It has been 20 minutes since Cash has gone out, Cassie stated. He's probably on his way back, Leo said. I don't know. He should have been back by now. Leo thought about it. She had a point. Okay, go check outside for him. Why me? You go. I don't want to go out there. It's freezing. It's free. You know what? Fine. I'll go. Stay here. Wasn't planning on going anywhere. Chase hid behind a pile of logs as Leo exited the cabin. He had short brown hair and brown hair. He had a white streak of hair on the side of his head. He wore a white button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up and a black vest over it. He wore black jeans and black dress shoes. On his middle finger of his left hand, he wore a stainless steel ring with a black stone in the middle and a silver watch on his wrist. Not even cold out here, he muttered to himself. He searched around for his friend. Cash, he called out. Cash, where you at? He noticed Cash tied up against the tree. Cassie, come out here. Why, what's so important? She complained. Now. Fine, Cassie said. She walked out of the cabin. She wore a gray sweater and gray skinny jeans. She had black high tops on. She wore a beanie over her long blonde hair, which was pulled back in a ponytail. She wore a necklace with a magenta heart pendant. What? Leo stopped when he noticed the necklace. He smirked at Cassie. Couldn't help yourself? Cassie held the pendant in her hand as she looked at it. It's just too pretty not to take it. Leo shook his head. Anyways, follow me. Cash needs our help. He ran off towards Cash, completely missing the German Shepherd. Hopefully, I won't ruin my hair, Cassie said as she stroked her hair. She ran after Leo with Chase following them. Leo kept running towards Cash. Cash, how did you get stuck? Don't worry, I'm going to get you. Leo's sentence was cut short when he stepped on the trap. Immediately, the trap was triggered and the net caught Leo by his feet. It didn't function like it was supposed to, but it still trapped Leo. He was dangling by his feet with his arms swaying above, or rather below, his head. Cassie tried to stop after seeing that Leo was caught, but Chase was going too fast behind her. He didn't have enough time to stop, so he collided with her. She fell to her knees, her hands in the mud. She grunted, disgusted. She looked behind her back and noticed Chase. He shook off the dizziness and got in a defensive position with his net cannon ready, implying that she wasn't going to run away. She raised her hands over her hands. Ryder came by and tied her hands together with some extra rope that he had. He took her to the cabin. She sat down on one of the chairs. Chase guarded the door as Ryder went back to grab the others. There was a thump coming from outside, followed by a grunt from Leo. Ryder returned with Leo and sat him down on another chair and left to grab the last guy. Leo looked up at Chase. This reminds me, what happened to Jack? Chase tilted his head to the question. Who? The other guy, the one you stopped at the museum, Leo clarified. Oh, him. He's fine. You'll see him again soon enough. Ryder came back with Cash. Cash was twice the size of Ryder, but he still let himself be led to the chair. Ryder tied their legs to the chairs so they wouldn't go anywhere. Something on one of the tables caught his attention. He walked over to pick it up. Hey Chase, look what I found. He showed Chase what he had in his hand. It was Chase's old collar. The top piece was broken and the inside gadgets were visible. The small light bulb that lit up the pup tag when Chase got a call was turned on, but it didn't shine as bright as it used to. I don't have any pockets, so can you take care of it for me? Chase asked. You want to keep it? Ryder asked. Chase shrugged. I could keep it as a memoir to remind me of the mission, who knows? Okay, Chase, sure thing. Ryder put the broken collar carefully in his pocket. You want to grab your vehicle while I watch these guys? Okay, Ryder, sir, Chase said. Be back in a sec. Chase ran towards his cruiser and hopped in. He turned on the engine and drove towards the cabin. He parked in front of the door. Okay, now you can go get yours if you want. Ryder nodded and took off. A minute later, he returned with his ATV. Chase was examining the jewelry. He had taken back the necklace that Cassie wore around her neck and placed it with the others. What do you want to do with them? Ryder asked. Well, we have to take all this jewelry back to the museum, where it belongs. I was referring to the thieves. We don't have a jail in Adventure Bay to hold them in. Chase thought about it. How about your dad, Chief Justin? I'm sure they have enough space at Adventure City for the four of them. I felt like using a reference to the upcoming Paw Patrol movie. 6. I will give him a call, Ryder said. He took out his pup pad and clicked on his dad's contact information. The phone started ringing and in a matter of seconds, Justin answered. Chief Justin here, he said. Hey, Dad, it's me, Ryder, Ryder replied. Ryder, son, how are you? I'm Good Dad, listen, I have a question for you. Ryder walked outside to finish the call. 2 minutes later, he returned inside the cabin. Okay, so they can't come by until tomorrow. He asked if we can take everything to town. That might take a while if it's just us, Chase said. Chase, someone said outside. Confused, Ryder and Chase walked outside. Marshall was driving extremely fast. He hit the brakes early, but the ambulance didn't stop completely until it was a foot away from Chase and Ryder. Marshall jumped down and tackled Chase in a hug. Chase, they found you. I thought I lost my brother forever. I am so glad to see that you are fine. Chase cleared his throat. Happy to see you too, Chase said. Now loosen up a bit before I pass out, please. Oh, sorry, Marshall apologized. He loosened his grip around Chase and Chase was able to hug Marshall back. I thought I lost you, Chase. Please don't ever do that again. Chase released him from Marshall's grip and grabbed the Dalmatian in a headlock and rubbed his paw against Marshall's head. Don't worry, I am never planning on doing that. Especially if I have someone like you to wait for me to return. I'm not going anywhere, little brother. Marshall laughed as he tried to get loose of Chase's grip. Chase finally let him go. So, there are 3 people inside the cabin, Ryder explained. They might have gotten burnt or something from being caught. Can you give them a checkup? Marshall's X-ray scanner appeared over Marshall's head from his pup pack. You know I can. Okay, thanks. I am going to call in the rest of the pups to help take everything back to the lookout. Continue to next part. Chapter 15. Sky was the first to arrive at the cabins. Rocky, Zuma, and Rubble got there an hour later. Rocky and Rubble were each pulling a small trailer. Rubble's trailer had a door in the back. Rocky's trailer, however, was only a platform without walls or a roof. Ryder and Chase moved the 3 delinquents to Rubble's trailer. The inside of the trailer had seats on either wall with seat belts. Leo, Cash, and Cassie sat down and got buckled in. Ryder closed the door with a lock but opened the windows on either side of the trailers. The windows had rails that prevented anyone to get out but still provided them with fresh air. Rocky parked the trailer in front of the first cabin and they started loading it up with everything. There are crates inside the cabin, Ryder said. Sky, Rubble, and Marshall, you 3 will push the crates one by one out the door, and Rubble will use his bulldozer to lift them onto the trailer. I checked earlier and they shouldn't be hard to move. They aren't that heavy. Okay, Ryder, all 3 of them said. Rocky and Zuma, you 2 will go to the other cabin. At the entrance, there is a large empty crate. I need you guys to fill it up with everything from inside the cabin and bring the crate back to the trailer. Okay, Ryder, Rocky and Zuma stated. Chase, I need you to handle the jewelry. There should be an empty box under one of the tables. Carefully place all the jewelry inside the box. Once you do, I want you to take it with you in your car. Once you are done with that, help Marshall and the others to move the crates out of the cabin. Yes, sir, Chase said. They all left to do their job. It took roughly an hour, but they got everything strapped down to the trailer and headed back. By the time they returned to town, it was shortly past midnight. Ryder sent Zuma, Marshall, Sky, and Rocky back to the lookout. Rocky left the trailer with all the supplies at Town Hall. He stayed with Chase and Rubble. Rubble had started to doze off, so Chase put the jewelry box in the bulldozer and took Rubble to the lookout. No, I can still help, Rubble insisted. He yawned. I'm not even that tired. Rubble, if you weren't wearing your seatbelt, you would fall off of my car because you're swaying left and right, Chase laughed. Don't worry, Rubble. Thank you for your help today. Chase parked his car in its designated spot. Rubble frowned and looked at Chase. But my bulldozer is still over there. Where am I going to sleep? I was thinking about letting you sleep in my pup house for tonight. I'll drive your bulldozer back here once we are done with it. Chase and Rubble got off of the cruiser and the vehicle transformed into a pup house. You sure, Chase? I don't want to be a pest or anything, Rubble stated. Yeah, of course. I can sleep in the guest room. I don't mind it. Okay, thanks, Rubble said. He entered the room and laid down on the bed. Wow, Chase, you got a big bed. Chase chuckled. Yeah, anyway, good night, Rubble. Good night, Chase, Rubble said. He yawned and closed his eyes. The second his head came in contact with the bed, Rubble had started snoring. Chase walked across the bridge where Ryder was waiting for him. Ryder was leaning against the side of his ATV, searching through his pup pad. Are they all asleep? Ryder asked. Yes, sir, Chase announced. Good, and you still remember how to drive Rubble's bulldozer, right? Chase shifted his weight. The last time he drove the bulldozer, he had forgotten how the controls worked at first, despite being the one to show Rubble how to use them. After a while, he had gotten used to the controls. Yeah, I think I got it, Chase said. He got on the bulldozer and turned on the engine. When he stepped on the gas pedal, all the things he remembered about driving the bulldozer came back to him. Yeah, I got it. Chapter 15. Chapter 15. 15. 2.4K 3510. Let's go, Ryder said. Ryder drove towards Town Hall with Chase following close behind. They parked in front of the Town Hall, where they were greeted by the mayor and her purse chicken, Chicoletta, who was snoring inside the purse. Oh, Chase, I'm so glad to see that you are okay, Mayor Goodway said when she saw the German Shepherd. Thank you, Mayor Goodway, I'm happy to be back as well, Chase replied. The 3 remaining delinquents that were part of the heist are right here in the trailer. Ryder's father, Officer Justin from Adventure City, will come by in the morning to pick all 4 of them up. And hear all the stolen jewelry from the museum. Splendid, Mayor Goodway. They took the 3 thieves into the town hall and placed them in the same room as the other one. They were in the only office without a window and the door was locked from the outside. They had been provided with food, water, and blankets to help them through the night. Well, if they try to escape or you need anything, just yelp for help, Ryder said, pumping his fist in the air. I will, Ryder. Thank you, Paw Patrol. Have a good night. Good night, Mayor Goodway, Chase and Ryder said in unison. They drove off to the lookout. It has been a crazy week, hasn't it, Sergeant Chase? Ryder asked. Chase laughed at the name. Yeah, no kidding. I'm just ready to sleep on an actual bed. The ground is not always the most comfortable place to sleep. Chase parked Rubble's bulldozer in its designated spot while Ryder took his ATV to the garage where he kept it. They met each other at the lookout lobby. They rode the elevator up together. I'm so happy to have you back, Chase. You are such a good pup, Ryder commented as he scratched behind Chase's ear. Thank you, Ryder, sir. You're the best owner a pup could ask for. The elevator doors opened and they walked down the hallway. Chase stopped at the guest room door and Ryder kept on walking. He entered the room was dark. The light that came through the doorway lit up the neatly made bed while making the rest of the room slightly visible. Chase closed the door and jumped onto the bed. He got comfortable and instantly fell asleep. In the morning, he woke up early as usual. He was going to wake up the others, but figured that he should wait a bit longer. They had been awake till midnight, so he thought it would be best to sleep in, at least for a bit more. He got dressed and walked out of the room. He started down the hallway when he noticed Ryder in the elevator. Ryder knew when Chase would usually wake up. He was fully dressed and had his pup pad in his hand. Are you ready to go meet up with my dad at town hall? He asked. Yes, sir, Chase responded. He entered the elevator. Good, Ryder replied. He pressed a button on the wall and the elevator started going down. Should we wake up the others? They were up late last night. I think they deserve to sleep in today. Ryder smiled and nodded. My thoughts exactly. The elevator reached the bottom floor and the doors slid open. Ryder and Chase exited the elevator and walked around to the vehicles. Chase was going to command his vehicle to transform, but he remembered something. He checked inside and sure enough, a young bulldog was sleeping inside. Instead of waking up Rubble, Chase just kept on walking to meet up with Ryder. Ryder came out of the garage riding his ATV. He noticed that Chase was not on his police cruiser as usual. Something wrong with your cruiser, Chase? He asked. No, not at all, Chase replied. Just that Rubble is still sleeping in my pup house since he didn't have his yesterday. I figured I might just walk instead. That honestly sounds like a great idea, Ryder said. He pressed a button on his ATV and the garage door opened. Give me a second. Ryder backed up the ATV into the garage and exited, closing the door behind him. Walking sounds like a great idea. They started walking to town hall. So, what happened while you were in the woods? Chase explained what he experienced along the way. He talked about how he fell from the cliff and scratched his leg. How he tried to climb the mountain but ended up in the cave. He stated how he followed the river and had to hide from the bear. He described the lake and the waterfall with every single detail he could remember, which was a lot because the image was fresh in his mind. He explained how he noticed Sky falling and had to catch her before she crashed into the jagged rocks. I was shocked to see Sky, but at the same time I was happy to see her, Chase finished the story. Ryder whistled in amazement. Wow, Chase. I would love to see this lake you're talking about, Ryder commented. Yeah, it was pretty neat. The only thing is that the environment was so beautiful, untouched by civilization. I don't know, Ryder, I would like that to never change, Ryder finished his sentence. Chase nodded. I understand. You don't want to see it ruined. Exactly. Well, then. We will keep it in a small group of people and limit the visits to the area to a minimum. Once or twice every couple of months, maybe. Thank you, Ryder, sir. No worries, Chase. They reached town hall and waited there for 10 minutes before seeing the law enforcement vehicles approaching. There were 3 cop cruisers, human cop cruisers, followed by a big truck used to transport people. They parked near Ryder and Chase. Mayor Goodway walked up, telling the 4 thieves to keep moving. From the middle cop cruiser, the driver stepped out of the vehicle. The officers, 3 of them, stepped out as well. The man in the middle was well built. He had a perfect tan. He seemed to be in his mid-30s, yet still had gray hair. His beard and chin were trimmed short and his hair was combed backward. He was dressed in a police captain's outfit and wore dark sunglasses over his eyes. He smiled at Ryder and Chase. "Hey, Ryder," the man said. He spread out his arms. "Come give your old man a hug." Continue.
Hey guys, it's me, Super Chase Movie. Before I end the stream, I'm gonna give you an update. The update is in about 3 hours and 23 minutes. I'm gonna start again a new stream to hear our final chapters, chapter 16, chapter 17, and chapter 18. And that's why hopefully you're gonna join then in that stream for you the last chapters of Pups Saves Chase. And then until then, I'll see you later guys. Bye bye.